There is one purchase that destroys more wealth than almost anything else. And no, I'm not talking about vacations, and I'm also not talking about dining out. And the worst part is that most people think it's completely normal. In fact, most people upgrade it every 3 to 4 years. Today I'm going to show you how this single purchase can cost you over several hundreds of thousands of euros during your lifetime. And also I'm going to show you some of the best strategies that you can apply to avoid such large costs. And why avoiding this trap might be one of the best financial decisions you ever make. I'm talking about your four wheels best friend, your car. In this video, I will show you how this can become one of the largest expenses in a regular European household. But I will also show you how you can save thousands and thousands of euros by applying the right strategies. If we look at how European households spend their money, we can see a very clear pattern. The biggest category is housing, furniture, and household equipment. This includes things such as rents, water, electricity, gas bills, maintenance, and pretty much anything that you buy to furnish your place. The next largest category is other goods and services. This includes obviously a lot of things, but the main ones are how much people waste on restaurants and hotels, also on tobacco and alcohol, and this also includes clothing and footwear. After that comes food and non-alcoholic beverages, and this obviously does not count with the dining out, which was counted in the previous part. But right after those three comes transportation, which is a major wealth killer, but one where we can save a lot of money. On average, European households spend about 12% of their money on this category, which makes it one of the largest expense categories in Europe. And when we break down what transport actually means, the vast majority of money goes to cars, buying them, maintaining them, fueling them, insuring them, and so on. Now let's jump into an hypothetical scenario. On one side, we have Alex, who wants to buy a brand new BMW just to impress his friends. On the other side, we have John. John just wants a car that takes him from point A to point B. Instead of buying an expensive brand new car, John decides to buy a reliable used Toyota Corolla. So in this case, they both have 50,000 euros available to buy their cars. So Alex decides to buy his brand new BMW, so he spends the whole 50,000 euros. On the other hand, John just spends 15,000 euros on his Toyota Corolla, which immediately means that John has 35,000 euros left and Alex is left with nothing. John decided to buy this car because he really doesn't care about appearances, and he had this plan in mind to invest the remaining 35,000 euros. Let's assume he invests this in a simple index fund tracking the S&P 500, which historically has been returning around 10% per year on average. After just 10 years, what he avoided spending on the car has already turned into 90,000 euros. And that's without doing anything complicated, really. Just letting your money compound over time. But the story does not end here, because buying a car is only the first cost. As I mentioned before, then we have several other ones. This includes maintenance, insurance, depreciation, and fuel. And guess who will be spending more on this? It will be Alex as well, because usually the more expensive your car was, the more expensive it will be to maintain as well. So let's say in 10 years, John wastes about 50,000 euros on his car and Alex wastes about 75,000 euros on his car. And I'm being conservative here. Again, if John invests this amount that he is saving on his car, he would be increasing his net worth even further. Now let's look at the four major costs of owning a car and how you can completely avoid them or reduce them by a lot. So the first one is car depreciation. Car depreciation is the loss of value a vehicle experiences over time due to age, mileage, wear and tear, and market demand. In simple terms, it's a difference between what you paid for your car and what it's worth later. Most cars lose between 40 and 60% of their initial value in the first 5 years. After this point, they will depreciate much slower. As an example, let's look at Alex's case again. When he bought his car, he spent 50,000 euros on it. If he would have bought this car, but 5 years later, he would have spent only about 21,000 euros on it. Ideally, you want to buy a car that is between 4 to 6 years old and that has no more than about, let's say, 90,000 kilometers. So this means you would have saved about 29,000 euros, which is roughly 58%. This is what is called the sweet spot. On an average, you should look for a car that has no more than 10 to 15,000 kilometers per year. This is the ideal scenario because you saved a lot on depreciation and the car is new enough so that it doesn't give you a lot of trouble. Another major cost of owning a car is fuel, and depending on how frequently you drive, it can become easily one of the largest expenses. The first factor that affects fuel costs is fuel efficiency. For example, there are some cars that spend way more than others. For example, a large SUV might consume 9 to 11 liters per 100 kilometers, while a small efficient car might only consume 5 to 6 liters. So this is the starting point. Choose a vehicle that fits your needs. For example, if your household is you, your wife, and one kid, you don't need a minivan. A regular sedan vehicle is more than enough for you. If you choose a car that is suited for your needs, this will save you hundreds, if not even thousands of euros. Another important factor that most people decide to ignore but plays a big role is your driving style. Aggressive acceleration, high speeds, and constant braking will increase your consumption by a large amount, while driving smoothly, avoiding traffic whenever it's possible, will considerably reduce the amount of fuel you consume. Another simple way to save a lot of money is planning your trips. Instead of going out multiple times, plan everything for just one trip. I'll give you another 3 points that are usually dismissed. Check your tires pressure regularly and keep them properly inflated depending on the number of people you usually share your car with. Remove unnecessary extra items that you might have in your car, as the extra weight also increases the fuel consumption. If your car allows it, also using cruise control can be very beneficial. Finally, consider using apps that help you find the cheapest fuel prices around you. They can vary a lot between different gas stations. There are also usually partnership between, for example, gas stations and supermarkets, and you can use these discounts to fill your tank at even lower prices. The takeaway point here is that even small differences on how you maintain your car and how you drive it can have a huge impact on how much fuel it consumes. Another important cost of owning a car is maintenance. Even reliable cars need regular servicing to keep running smoothly. Typical maintenance costs include things such as oil changes, brake pads, tires, and filters. These are normal parts that wear out over time and need to be replaced. The good news is that some basic maintenance tasks you can do it yourself, which can save you a lot of money over time. For example, you could easily learn how to replace the engine air filter, change windshield wipers, oil change, replace the battery, and so on. There are small things that you can easily do yourself. Recently, I ran into an issue with my car. It was taking multiple attempts just to start, so I took it to the garage for a diagnosis. So they came back to me and told me the battery needed replacing, which would cost me about 170 euros. That didn't sit right with me, so I did a little bit of research. Turns out, I find the exact same battery they were going to use to replace my old one for about 60 euros online, which means they were basically charging me about 110 euros for the labor. Now I'm very lucky, and my dad is also very handy with this kind of stuff. I mentioned this story to him and he told me he had already replaced in the past a battery of one of his cars, so he could help me out with this. Long story short, it saved me about 110 euros, and now I have valuable knowledge that might be useful in the future again if I ever need to replace a car battery or if I need to help a friend or some family member with it. There are plenty of online resources that you can check, including YouTube videos. For example, you can check this 8-minute video, which was created by Dad How Do I, and you can learn how to replace a battery by yourself. These tasks often just take a few minutes, and if they are done at the garage, they will charge you a lot more just because of the labor fees. Another important habit is preventive maintenance. Regularly checking things like tire pressure, oil levels, and unusual sounds can help you catch small problems before they turn into big problems that can cost you a lot of money. Skipping necessary maintenance can save you some money in the short term, but in the long term, it can cost you a lot. In most cases, you want to buy a car without financing it, unless you are getting a deal with a low interest rate and you can beat this interest rate by investing the money somewhere else. Many people make the mistake of buying the most expensive car their bank approves them for. Just because you can afford the monthly payment does not mean you should. A good rule to follow is the 24-10 rule. This simple guideline helps you buy a car without damaging your finances. This rule suggests putting 20% down payment, choosing a loan term no longer than 4 years, and keeping your monthly car expenses below 10% of your monthly salary, which includes the loan payment, maintenance, and insurance. So let's say you earn about 3,000 euros a month. Your car expenses should be lower than 300 euros per month. So as stated before, a car is a depreciating asset. It loses value every year, so the best approach is to lock as little as possible money into it. So I have also this bonus tip for you. If you are buying a used car, it is likely you can check its history. In most cases, all you need is the VIN, which stands for Vehicle Identification Number. This is a unique code for each car. It's like its fingerprint. In most cases, the VIN number is located on the dashboard, near the windshield driver's side, just like you can see in the image. With the VIN, you can check mileage records, accidents history, previous owners, possible theft, or damage reports. There are multiple websites that you can use to check this history. So as a recap, if you are trying to buy a car, try to buy it in the sweet spot. So between 4 to 6 years old and around 90,000 kilometers. When buying a car, try avoiding financing it. If you really have to, remember and try to follow the 20-4-10 rule. You can easily save hundreds and hundreds of euros if you apply some of the tips that I gave you before for reducing fuel consumption. You can probably do more maintenance work than you actually think. So if an issue pops up, try to check if it is possible that you do it yourself. And that's it, guys. If you found this video any useful, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if you follow any of the methods that I mentioned to save some money. And if you have any other methods, please share with me. See you in the next one.